Back to the history of blush. Let's talk about the 80s. Here we see the amazing Annie Lennox, and here's Grace Jones. Blush was really essential to the makeup look of the 1980s. And in the 80s, they used blush much like we use contour today. They would actually contour their entire face using blush. And it's actually a very beautiful look. You know, the blush was really carving out the cheekbones and was really brought up all the way to the temples, really, and sometimes even brought up onto the forehead. They were kind of picture framing their face with blush, as you can see. Here we see Brooke Shields. So this blush look was rather heavy, but it was really meant to give contour to the face and really chisel the cheekbones and really give that heavily structured look to the face. Here we see the amazing Debbie Harry. And there were a lot of different blushes available on the market. Here we see an ad for Maybelline blush, a couple different Maybelline blushes. Here you can see that kind of contoured look. In this case, brought up a little bit closer to the eye. Here we see a little bit more of a natural tone blush being used to contour. CoverGirl cheekers, which are still available today, really got their start in the 1980s. Here's a really strong blush look from Elizabeth Arden, as well as here. So blush was applied very, very heavily in the 1980s, and it was really to achieve that sculpted look, which was so popular in the 80s. It was all about angles with makeup in the 80s. So you kind of sculpted out your eyes, you had your cheekbones and your jawline heavily sculpted, and that was really the look. You wanted to create kind of sharp angles with your makeup, and that was really kind of the goal of makeup in the 80s. It was very futuristic looking. Here we see a CoverGirl blush ad, and here's another one again for Maybelline. Maybelline was very popular in the 80s, but it's still popular today as well. Here's a Maybelline Shine Free blush. Here's some very stereotypical 80s looks with the bright eyeshadow and the bright hot pink blush. Again, a lot of those shades like hot pink and fuchsia and bright red were popular, but then you also saw some more muted tones that were used to sculpt some toastier tones. Really, all shades of blush were popular in the 80s. You really couldn't go wrong regardless of what color you used. And again, it was really applied to contour those cheekbones, much the same way you use contour today. Now, in the 90s, blush really fell out of favor. In fact, I even had a hard time finding advertisements for blush. Here's a Great Wear blush ad from the 90s. And here's like a CoverGirl blush ad. Very, very soft, muted colors. Here's some from Bourjois. Again, very understated and muted in the 90s.